Fitting we're discussing Liberty on Veterans Day. How would you sum up BYU's performance overall in a 31-24 win over Liberty on Saturday night?
Well, it was up and down and then up again. It was a bit spotty, but a win is a win, and you don't play the game that you want to play. You play the game you're in. And it turned out Liberty came into this game 6-3. And they've got a quarterback named Buckshot, so I didn't even deal with that. And at least one wide receiver who will be drafted in the NFL. So they had personnel that could cause trouble. And BYU jumped out to a lead. They were in control of the game, and then Buckshot led them back, storming back to threaten BYU, and then BYU made some plays at the end. So I'm thinking they're probably not fully satisfied with how the thing went, but I love the fight. Because, I mean, BYU has had games this year where they were trailing and they had to fight back to win it in overtime. This is one of the games that BYU was in control, and they had to stave off a furious rally by the opponent. It's a different way to win, but they won. And I'm happy with the way it went.
Yeah, everyone played some close games. Even in '84, you guys were the national champs and played 5 games decided by a touchdown. I'm not saying this BYU team is the '84 team, just that teams play close games. And it felt like the difference was turnover margin. BYU -2, and that's how Liberty stayed in the game. Sometimes that's a equalizer for an opponent.
Yeah, it absolutely can be. And sometimes it surprises you the way it turns out. That's why I say, you play the game you're in and you fight the fight you're in. I mean, look at Alabama LSU. I mean, they combined for 87 points in that game. 87 points. If someone would have told you that before the game, you would have thought they were completely nuts. But that was the game they were in. They were in a furious shootout. It wasn't that long ago when it was a 9-6 game. And so it just depends. And BYU was in a game that had big momentum shifts, and they came out on top.
I feel like if Sione Finau doesn't fumble early in the second half, Trevor, it's a very different story. BYU goes on to score. They're on the 20-yard line. They go up by 17 at that point, and it probably ends up being a 41-17 game or a 38-17 game, something like that. So do BYU fans that are a little bit concerned, are they overreacting right now?
I think they're being unfair, for goodness sake. You are totally right that was a pivotal moment in the game where BYU could have basically had their foot planted firmly on Liberty's neck at that point. But that allowed Liberty life, and they took advantage of it. And it's a lesson BYU needs to learn. I mean, they're not a team right now that has a lot of experience with putting their boot on the neck of an opponent and grinding it into the turf and not letting them up until after the final whistle. This is not a habit that BYU has been in recent years. And how to win, how to dominate are things that teams need to learn. And in BYU's case, they need to relearn. And this is where you don't make a mistake that allows the other team back in. I mean, even if nothing happened there but a field goal or even a missed field goal, it sure beats the big sudden change that a turnover creates. And so that's something that BYU needs to just get better at. It's not that they don't know that you're not supposed to turn it over, but in the heat of the moment, it's a matter of focus and emphasis.
Baylor Romney has started 2 of the last 3 games. He has finished the last 3, all wins for BYU, a win streak that is BYU's longest, curiously, since 2016, which is kind of crazy. What has impressed you about Baylor Romney's play at quarterback?
2 things. 3 things, actually. One is his calmness. You would think that a third-string freshman walk-on would be a little skittish, a little nervous. He looks like the moment is not too big for him. Every moment he's been in, it appears that watching his feet, his calmness in the pocket, his working through progressions, it doesn't seem like he's freaked out in any way. That's thing number 1. Thing number 2, he has fully bought into the concept that to be successful in this offense, you need to throw the ball on time to a spot and trust the receiver to get there and make a play. And so that's something that has been kind of a rare commodity in recent years at BYU, where you've seen too often a quarterback drop back, find a guy with a Y in his helmet, and then drill it to him if he looks open. Well, that'll make some nice plays once in a while, but it doesn't lead to consistently moving the chains. It's just not. And so he has done a good job of throwing the ball on time to a spot. And the other thing is I love his high trajectory throws on the vertical ones down the field, where he'll put the ball high in the air and let the receiver run under it and make a play. I mean, he gets pass interference penalties from that and big plays from that. And there were both at the same time with Micah Simon early in the game, 47-yard pickup down deep in the red zone where the ball was thrown high, but it was too short. So Simon slowed down. The defender ran into him, and so that was pass interference, but Simon caught it anyhow. Well, when you put the ball up in the air like that, you give a receiver a chance to show what he can do, as opposed to throwing it on a rope, which means if it's not in the exact right spot, there's no chance to catch it, and the receiver can't really adjust to it. So those three things, I think, impressed me about Baylor Romney.
Hey, 7 catches, 91 yards for Micah Simon, who you're just talking about. But his quarterback rating is what he wants us to talk about, Trevor. 799 on the one pass he threw with a touchdown. How about that?
You know what? 799 has got to be an all-time record. Now, there's this whole thing about being passer rated qualified, which means you have to have a certain number of attempts. But here's the thing. This is a sort of a trivia question for you. Not a trivia question, but a piece of trivia. In the NFL, I am tied for first place in NFL history.
What?
At the ratio of targets to catches among all players who have ever played with at least 3 targets.
You had 3 targets?
3 targets,
did you
3
throw
catches. That
really?
makes me tied on the ratio of targets to catches in all of NFL history among all players who have at least 3 targets. And so that means nothing at all, right? They threw the ball to me 3 times. So good for Micah. You know, he got his one, and hopefully they don't call another one because it might cut that in half if it's a complete or an interception.
1991 for the Jets. 3 for 23. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it sounds about right, but a game-winning touchdown.
Again, one touchdown.
That's a photo of my football career.
Wow. Who was that against? Who was that against?
Well, it was against I was playing for the Jets, and so my former team was the Patriots. So we go up to New England to play them in the first of our 2 games of our division series that year. And the score's tied with less than a minute to go. We get the ball like on the 1-yard line, and we had a play-action pass. I was playing tight end. I was number 46 for the Jets that year. And so I was playing, but I'm still mostly a blocker, but I just had played so much in the big field rather than just short yardage goal line, they flipped my number. And so the play-action pass was designed to throw to the right corner of the end zone to the primary receivers. And in practice, because the defense went so slow all the time, the guys on the primary receivers were always wide open, and the defense was standing around me. My job was to block for a second and then leak out as an outlet to the back of the end zone. Well, in the game, the Patriots defense swarmed over the primary receivers, and I was standing by myself in the back of the end zone. And so the quarterback, Ken O'Brien, looked at me, and he was like, no way. But the defense was about to close in on him, so he threw the ball, and I caught it, and that was the game-winning touchdown. And after the game, he said, I said, thanks for throwing that thing. And he said, thanks for catching it, right? So the next game that we played against the Jets that year, they came up to me during pregame warm-up, like the whole defense, and they said, there's no way you're catching another pass. I knew all these guys in my former team. No way you're catching another pass. Well, I knew they had a pass in there for me. So I lined up this time in an unbalanced line on the left side, number 46 still, sat back to block a little bit, ran down the field, caught the pass, got hit by a couple of guys, and I wouldn't go down. So here come a few more and jumped on me. I wouldn't go down. The whistles are blowing. The refs are coming in. More guys come in, jump on me. I wouldn't go down. Finally, way after the whistle was blown, there were just too many Patriots on, a couple thousand pounds on me, so I finally went down. But there was a picture on the front of the sports section of the Boston Herald the next day of me with 9 Patriots either on me or about to jump on me. And that's my favorite picture of my entire NFL career. So, yeah, that all goes back to Micah Simon and his touchdown pass. Yay.
Oh, fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yes,
the Jets could use you this year. They really could.
Trevor, tell me you have a picture, that you still have that picture framed somewhere, because you need to take a picture of that picture and send it to us.
You can find it online, but I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can email it over to you. It's just me in my little green uniform and a whole bunch of furious Patriots, because they told me you're not catching another ball. And I was like, you wait and see.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I love it.
That's part of the fun of football, though, because it is personal. It is personal.
Yeah, that's awesome. And let's finish with this. LSU beats Alabama, clearly the best team in the country right now. Everyone's number one, right? Who will challenge them for the national title?
Right now, I think there's 2 that could. 3. One of them is Ohio State, especially the way their defense is playing. The second one is Clemson. Clemson, I think, has answered a lot of the problems that they had, especially on offense early in the season, and they're just ripping along at a pace they were last year. The third one is Alabama.
Wow.
If Alabama sneaks into the playoff as a one-loss non-champ like they did a couple of years ago, and then went on to win it over Georgia with Tua's emergence, I think Alabama could do it too. Keep this in mind that the first half of that game, Alabama just got torched on both sides of the ball by LSU. But in the second half, they came roaring back and made it a 5-point game, And in the first half, part of the problem was that Tua, on his surgically repaired ankle, was not himself. And he wasn't able to support the defense by sustaining drives, scoring points. It was just a real miserable first half. But in the second half, he finally figured out how to play with that ankle, and, man, they came back with a huge game. And if they're able to sneak into the playoff, I think that Alabama, with a healthy Tua, has a very good chance to knock off LSU and get their revenge. But I think those are the 4 teams that have a legitimate chance to win it all.
Trevor, it's great to catch up with you. And again, an amazing story about you catching a touchdown pass. Yes, as a tight end. And I'll say it for you. Don't sleep on Idaho State.
Don't sleep on Idaho State. And somewhere, the 4 quarterbacks I played with at BYU, Mark Wilson, Jim McMahon, Steve Young, and Robbie Bosco, are saying, what? And we didn't throw the ball to Trevor?
Oh, we'll bring it up with them.
Yeah, they missed a great opportunity.
Great stuff.
They could have been super, ultra All-Americans.
Trevor, we appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys.
Trevor